Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermain. Today, we're going to be talking about Frederik Pohl's Gateway, part of the Sci-fi Masterworks collection. So, what about Bob? Let's talk about Bob in this book here. Bob, he's the main character. He's not the greatest guy. Um, this book is from his perspective. It's told in first person. His actual name is Robinette Broadhead. Um, Bob for short. Bobby, Robbie, all kinds of nicknames. Like I said, he's not the greatest guy. He's a coward. He's a womanizer. He's a bit of a gambler, but not high risk, so not as fun. He has some mental health issues, which we find out about throughout the course of the book. And he's the type of guy that, you really can't trust with your life, but you kind of like him anyway. He's just interesting enough to want to know more about, but not endearing enough to be your favorite person. Um, he's just smart enough to give you some good insight about the people in the world around him, but just dumb enough to be his own worst enemy. So, Pohl, Pohl, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so sorry about that. But he does a good job of drawing us in with this first person narrative while making Bob a superbly flawed character. He draws us in right away by presenting Bob as a patient for a robot therapist. So we're allowed to discover Bob's inner workings and inner conflict as the robot, Siegfried, asks questions of Bob to gain insight into helping him heal from trauma. The trauma experienced by Bob is a clever part of the mystery of the plot that is going on in the book. And so the therapy that we're exposed to is in the present as Bob is talking to Siegfried, the computer, or the robot. And the story he's telling happens in the past. So what I like about the book is that Pohl keeps his scientific explanations to a minimum. I appreciated that. Um, the aliens of the story, the Hichi, are kept off screen. We never see them, only like relics of their civilization, and most importantly, their ships, which is part of the plot in here. So we won't get too much into that. But Pohl's vision of the future for the human race can be interpreted as pretty bleak. With one hope being the very artifacts of this alien race that we've never even met before, um, or we never meet. And there's one section here where Bob kind of equates himself to being a sailor on Columbus's ship to discover the new world. Um, he's there on the ship, and once there, he doesn't really have a choice about what happens to him. He just has to go along for the ride. And there's like a certain sense of fatalism in this outlook that Bob has. And it's fascinating if one can get over just how disheartening it can feel. Um, there is an underlying question here that asks just how much control do we have over our destiny? You know, and we may not like the answer that that or answers that are given. So there were times when I wish that this book had a bit more excitement to it. Um, it was a bit by the numbers at times, but it was never boring or trite. It kept flowing very well. Pohl's prose was efficient. It was succinct. It was very polished. His craftsmanship was excellent. He wasted no words, and he got to his point. He got his point across with just enough subtlety to make you wonder if you may have missed something, and that if a reread would be warranted. Um, and no doubt, I did miss things, most definitely. So the book, it did win a bunch of awards back in the late '70s for like the best novel, Hugo, and stuff like that. and it is the first book in the He series of about I think about 6 books that was published up into the 2000s. So I have no idea if the He themselves make an appearance later on in the series. That could be very interesting, um, but they don't here. But either way, the book itself on its own is impressive. It's on its own merits. So I don't think an alien appearance is necessary at all to enjoy it. It's a quick read that stands alone just fine by itself. So that is my short review of Frederik Pohl's Gateway. If that sounds appealing to you, check it out. It's like I said, it's a quick read. It's only 300 pages, and it goes by quickly and efficiently. And Pohl is a good writer, and he has some interesting things to say about what the future of the human race could be, and what an encounter with an alien civilization could amount to, if that ever happens. All right. With that said, be good to each other, and thank you.